When I worked in sales, I learned a valuable lesson, which is that keeping your existing paying clients is just as valuable as signing up new ones. Also, it's a lot easier to build a relationship with an existing client than it is to sell a PT package to a stranger. In this video, I have 5 questions you need to ask yourself and your client. The more yeses you can get out of those 5 questions, the better your retention rate will be. My name is Alexander Lyon. I've been a personal trainer in London for the last 10 years. I'm currently making just over 100,000 working 4 days a week. And on this channel, I help personal trainers to make more money and build better relationships with their clients. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe and let's get into it. The first one is super simple. Does the client feel heard and understood? Always listen to throwaway comments. Read their body language. Ask them what their thoughts are on an exercise or a program. It's one thing for you to try and make that effort, but it's a whole nother thing for the client themselves to actually feel heard and understood. So you need to do your absolute best to make sure that's the case, and even ask them directly. Do you feel I have a good understanding of where you are in your current position? Ask them directly. Don't be afraid to do that. The second one, does the client feel comfortable both with you, but also in the environment in which you train? Always start any client journey with a full tour of the facility. It's absolutely imperative that they're comfortable in the space that they're going to train. Most clients feel very vulnerable, often extremely nervous about gym in general, never mind working with a personal trainer. So you have to do everything you can to make them feel at ease as quickly as possible. Number 3, is the client actually making progress towards the goals they set? Now, one of the big things I see with a lot of trainers is not that their clients are not making progress, it's just that the trainer hasn't been recording any progress, so they have no proof of it. I'd always recommend setting performance-based targets with clients. A lot of clients, of course, are going to be on a fat loss journey, so you're going to be looking at measurements, you're going to be looking at body weight, progress pictures. But like I said to a client a few days ago, eventually there's no more fat to lose, right? So once you've achieved that, then what? You want to find something that you can track, not just for the next few weeks, few months, few years, but forever. Strength and fitness measurements are far more sustainable than simply measuring body weight, because body weight down doesn't necessarily mean good, right? But going up with all your fitness and your strength metrics is always good. So that should be the goal that we strive for. Now, what I do is that every single session that I ever do with a client, there is a note of what we did in that session. That way, the next time the client's having a rough day, or maybe they're not performing that well in a session, you can flick back through your notes and you can actually show them in hard black and white writing how far they've already come. Because it's easy to forget about that. Life gets in the way, you're having a bad day, you think you're doing a bad job, but really, you've actually improved your horizontal row by 30% in the last 6 weeks. That's unbelievable. Another way you can do it is by simply videoing them, showing them, especially when it comes to quality of movement, their technique. If you show them how they looked 6 months ago, especially if they're early in the journey, and then show them what they look like now, they'll be amazed. They'll think, wow, you know what, actually I've actually come quite a long way, and it's going to make them feel better. And when your clients feel better, you get the rewards from that as well. Whatever medium you want to use to measure the progress of the client, it doesn't really matter. But what is important is that you have the ability to actually demonstrate progress. You don't just want to be able to talk about it like, oh, I remember when you used to be there. I remember. No. You want to be able to actually show them hard evidence so that they can feel bought in as well. They can feel like, wow, hard evidence. I can't argue with that. I was there, now I'm there. Can't dispute that, right? Number 4, in my opinion, maybe the most important one, which is, do you actually have a laugh together? I've never had a good relationship with a client that didn't include having a laugh most sessions. It's important to take your job seriously. It's important to take the care of your client seriously and make sure that they're making progress. But that doesn't mean you've got to be super stiff and boring. Clients that can afford personal training typically have a major stressor in their life, whether it's work, family, spouse, whatever, right? So whilst yes, they need exercise for obvious reasons, they also need to decompress. And there's no reason why they can't hit 2 stones with 1 bird. And obviously I mean 2 birds with 1 stone. Having a good, bubbly, positive energy as a personal trainer, in my opinion, is non-negotiable. I've never seen a trainer be successful without it. So show your personality. Be loose, be confident, be happy, have a joke, right? Take your job seriously. But in my opinion, that is a very big part of your job. Your job is to uplift, right? You can't be going in there and dumping all your problems on your client. That's very selfish and, in my opinion, extremely unprofessional. Number 5, last but most certainly not least, a new favorite of mine, which is to ask clients directly for their feedback regularly. I'm talking once a month at the least. I used to think that I knew my clients so well that I didn't need to ask for feedback because I know what they would say. But then after a couple of years, they would move on, right? They'd either just stop personal training altogether, or I don't know, the relationship would just kind of fizzle out. And I never really understood why. But it comes down to one very simple thing. We weren't on the same page. When you're working with a client for more than 3 months, it's very easy for you to start on the same page from your consultation. But after the consultation, there's often not a specific hard place where you actually sit down, reevaluate, get back on the same page and go for the next phase. Often it just kind of goes session, week, month, year, and you haven't actually sat to have a conversation with that person since you very first started, which is why it's so important to constantly make sure you're on the same page, right? Number 1, you'll be able to deliver a better service because you'll know what they like and what they don't like, what they're enjoying, what they're not. But number 2, it also protects you from a business perspective. People don't like confrontation, right? And if you are not delivering a service that the client is necessarily enjoying or finding to be satisfying, rather than sitting you down and telling you what they don't like about your service, they will find a reason simply to stop working with you, right? It could be that, oh, money's tight, or it could be that, oh, I just want to try something new, or whatever. Really what happened was they were enjoying your service. At some point, we don't know when because you didn't ask, but at some point you guys weren't on the same page anymore. And because you weren't on the same page anymore, they're not getting what they paid for. So it's your job to open that door. It's your job to not take things too personal and to directly ask, what can I do better? What can I do better as your trainer? Even if you think that client is a good mate of yours, a good friend at this point, doesn't matter. They're still paying you. They can be a friend and they can also be a customer at the same time. But you've got to play both roles. You can be the friend, sure, but don't ever forget they're paying you. They're paying you. And people don't just like to give out money for no reason, right? You're not a charity case. They're not funding your lifestyle for the sake of it. They want a service as well. So you've got to make sure that you're doing your absolute best to maximize the enjoyment and the fulfillment they have from that service. But at the same time, you can still be their mate as well, but you can play both roles. Now, if you found any of that valuable and interesting, then either here or here, there's going to be another video that you should definitely watch.